Let me start by saying I never thought I'd be this person. The kind who vomits their life onto Reddit for strangers to pick apart. But here I am. Maybe if I write it down, it'll stop playing on a loop in my head. Names? Let's keep it raw. My wife is Claire. My best friend is Tyler. We've known each other since college. 15 years of inside jokes, beers on my porch, him crashing on our couch after his divorce. Claire and I have been married 12 years. 2 kids, Liam, 9, and Emma, 6. Tyler was Liam's godfather. He taught my son to ride a bike, brought my daughter ice cream when she had strep throat. We trusted him. The first crack came on a Tuesday. Claire's phone buzzed on the bathroom counter while she was in the shower. A text lit up the screen. Tyler, we need to talk about the baby. My stomach dropped. The baby? Claire wasn't pregnant, at least not that she'd told me, but then I remembered. 2 months ago, she'd mentioned she was late. We'd laughed about it. A midlife surprise, we'd called it. A week later, she shrugged it off. False alarm, stress from work. I stared at that text until my vision blurred. When Claire stepped out of the shower, towel wrapped around her, I didn't yell, didn't cry, just held up her phone and asked flatly, "Are you pregnant?" She froze. "What? No. Why would you?" "Tyler says you need to talk about the baby." Her face went pale. "It's not what you think," she whispered. But it was. She folded fast. Admitted it was one night. Drunk. Tyler had been a wreck after his divorce. She'd comforted him. "A mistake," she kept saying. "But the baby. We don't even know it's his." I laughed, a cold, ugly sound. "We'll find out, won't we?" The paternity test came back yesterday. 9%. Tyler's. But here's the thing. This isn't just a story about cheating. It's about how lies bury themselves like ticks. How the people you take a bullet for can turn into strangers overnight. After the text, I started digging. Claire swore it was one night. A stupid slip. But my gut screamed there was more. I called in sick to work. Waited for her to leave, then tore our bedroom apart. Found a locked box under the bed. Claire's childhood jewelry box. Or so she told me. Inside, letters. Dozens of them. All from Tyler. Dates going back 2 years. 2 years. I read the first one, then the second. Words like, "I can't stop thinking about you," and "We'll figure this out," and "I love you more than him." My hands shook. I couldn't breathe. That's when I realized this wasn't a slip. This was a second life, and I'd been the fool funding it. I didn't confront her about the letters. Not yet. Instead, I took photos of every page, emailed them to myself, deleted the sent folder. Then I put the box back exactly where I found it. That night, Claire made spaghetti. The kids bickered over garlic bread. Normal stuff. I watched her laugh at something Emma said, her hand resting on her stomach. A nervous habit now, I guess. 2 days later, I called Tyler. Told him I needed help moving furniture. He showed up with his truck, all smiles and backslaps. "You're saving me from my sad apartment, man." In the garage, I handed him a beer. Then I dropped the paternity report on the workbench. "Read it." He scanned the page. His face went slack. "Look, I'm sorry, okay? It was a mistake. We never meant..." "You've been sleeping with her for 2 years." His beer bottle clinked as he set it down. "What?" "No. It was one night, I swear." I pulled up the photos of the letters on my phone, watched his Adam's apple bob. "You wrote her love letters. You planned a life." He started sweating. "She told me you were done. Said you slept in separate rooms. That you hurt her." A lie. A brilliant lie. I'd never raised a hand to Claire, but Tyler's eyes darted like he almost believed it. I stepped closer. "You're gonna tell her it's over. Today. Or I send these letters to your boss." Tyler worked at a family-owned tech firm. Morality clauses in their contracts. He paled. "You can't. Watch me." He showed up at our house that night. Claire answered the door, her smile dying when she saw his face. I herded the kids upstairs. Dad's got a work call, but left the baby monitor on. listened as Tyler choked out a breakup speech. Claire sobbed. "You're abandoning me? After everything?" Tyler's voice cracked. "You lied to me too, Claire." The next morning, I filed for divorce. Full custody. Claire fought, screaming about fairness. But I had the letters, the paternity test, a recording of her admitting the affair. Here's where it gets ugly. I found Tyler's ex-wife, Nina. She'd left him after he drained their savings. "He's a gambler," she told me. "Still owes me $30K. Tyler's Secret, a betting app. On his phone. Horses, football, poker. I anonymously tipped off his boss. Got him fired the same day Claire moved out. But revenge isn't a straight line. It's a grenade. Shrapnel hits everyone. Last week, Liam asked why Tyler doesn't come around anymore. I told him the truth. Now my son won't look at me. Claire's pregnancy started showing. She wore loose sweaters to court hearings, her hands cupped under her belly like armor. Our lawyers argued over custody in sterile conference rooms, while Emma drew pictures of stick-figure families on legal pads. Liam sat silent, headphones on, staring at the wall. I thought winning would feel better. The judge granted me temporary custody. Claire's unstable environment and pattern of deceit sealed it. But when I picked up the kids, from her apartment, Liam screamed, "I hate you!" and threw his backpack at my head. Emma cried so hard she threw up in the car. That night, I found Liam's journal under his bed. Pages ripped out, but one entry remained. "Dad ruined everything. Mom's sick, and it's his fault. I didn't sleep." Tyler called me 3 days later, begging. "Claire's broke. She can't afford a lawyer. Please, man, don't take the kids." "You don't get to say their names," I snapped. "Then let me help her. I'll give her money." "With what?" "You're unemployed." Silence. Then he hung up. I didn't expect him to show up at my door. It was raining. He looked thinner, his beard patchy. "I'll do anything," he said. "I'll admit it all. Tell the judge I manipulated her. Just let her see the kids." "Why?" I asked. "You hate kids." He flinched. She's not doing well. The pregnancy. The stress." Something in his voice made me step outside. "What aren't you saying?" He hesitated. "She's talking about ending it. The baby." I felt nothing. "Good." His fist connected with my jaw before I saw it coming. We crashed into the porch railing, fists and curses. Neighbors peeked through blinds. Tyler kept yelling, "You're a monster. You want her to suffer." I spat blood. "You don't know what suffering is yet." The cops came. Tyler got a restraining order, but Claire kept the baby. At the next hearing, her lawyer argued I was unfit, citing the fight, my vendetta against Tyler. The judge ordered family therapy. The therapist's office smelled like lavender. Liam refused to speak. Emma asked, "Is Mom's baby our brother?" Claire touched her stomach. "Yes." "So Tyler's his dad?" The room froze. Claire looked at me, betrayal sharp in her eyes. "You told them?" "They deserve the truth," I said. She started crying. The therapist ended the session early. That night, Claire texted, "You've taken enough. Stop now." I didn't reply. Instead, I dug deeper. Found old credit card statements, charges at a motel 20 minutes away, dates matching the letters. But there was another pattern. Every Thursday, $200 withdrawals. Cash. I followed her one Thursday. She drove to a rundown duplex. A man answered. Not Tyler. Bearded. Tattoos. She handed him cash. He passed her a small envelope. Pills. I took photos. Sent them to my lawyer. But when they confronted her, Claire laughed bitterly. "Vitamins. My doctor said I'm anemic. The pills tested clean. Just iron supplements." But the man? His name was Derek. Claire's ex from high school. A recovering addict. She'd lied about cutting ties with him. I started questioning everything. The letters. The paternity test. Even the night she swore she slept with Tyler. What if none of it was real? What if I'd become the villain of my own story? I hired a private investigator, a guy named Mercer with a neck tattoo and a habit of chewing toothpicks. His report came back in a week. Derek had 3 arrests for possession. Claire's cash payments to him? Every Thursday, like clockwork. But Mercer dug deeper. Found texts between Derek and Claire from 6 months ago, before the affair with Tyler. Need another favor, Claire wrote. Same place as last time. Derek. You sure? This is getting risky. Claire. I'll pay double. Mercer couldn't trace the favor, but he had a theory. She's hiding something bigger than an ex. I confronted Derek myself. Parked outside his duplex until he stumbled home, high off his ass. Cornered him in the alley. What's Claire paying you for? He smirked. Wouldn't you like to know, Mr. Perfect Dad? I shoved him against the wall. Try me. He laughed, breath reeking of weed. She's not the saint you think, but you're worse. You're the one who... A car honked. He slipped away. That night, Claire called. First time in weeks. Stay away from Derek. Or what? Or I'll tell the court what you did in college. Ice shot through my veins. You wouldn't. Try. Me. Click. She was bluffing. She had to be. In college, I'd gotten a DUI. Claire was in the car. We'd sworn never to tell anyone, especially after Liam was born. But if she dragged that up now, unfit parent would stick. I almost caved. Almost. Then Liam came home with a black eye. Fight at school, he muttered. But Emma whispered, the truth later. Liam told a kid Mom's a liar. The kid pushed him into a locker. I drove to Claire's apartment, pounded on the door. She opened it, her belly round under a faded band tee. You're turning them into martyrs, I said. You're turning them into you, she fired back. We stood there, breathing hate. Then she said quietly, the baby's yours. I laughed. The test said, tests can be wrong. Her voice shook. I didn't sleep with Tyler, not until after the paternity scare. My head spun. What? You were so sure it wasn't yours. Called me a cheater before I even knew. So, I made it real. The hallway tilted. You're lying. Check the dates. The night I was late. We'd had that fight about your mom. You slept on the couch. I drank half a bottle of wine. Tyler came over. I told him you'd left me. She hugged her. Stomach. But the baby was yours first. I backed away. You're insane. Am I? She pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. The original pregnancy test. Dated 2 weeks before the night with Tyler. I vomited in the stairwell. The next day, I demanded a new paternity test. Claire refused. You don't get to rewrite history now. But I bribed the clinic nurse. Got the original sample retested. Results, 99.9% mine. The first test had been swapped. Tyler's ex, Nina, worked at the clinic. Claire had paid her. I stormed into Nina's apartment. She didn't deny it. Claire said you were abusive. She needed protection. And you believed her? I've been where she was. Nina's hands trembled. With Tyler. I left without speaking. Drove to the park where Claire and I had our first date. Sat on a bench until sunset. Then I texted Claire. Meet me. Bring the baby's ultrasound. She came. We didn't hug. I showed her the new test. Why? She touched her stomach. You stopped seeing me. Years ago, I was just the mom, the maid, the roommate. So you blew up our lives? You did that when you called me a liar. The baby kicked. She winced. What now? She asked. I didn't know. But when I got home, Liam was waiting. Mom called. She said you're sorry. Did she? Are you? I looked at my son. Really looked. Saw the anger, but under it. The kid who used to fall asleep on my chest. Yeah, I said. I'm sorry. He didn't hug me, but he didn't walk away. That's when the cops came. Tyler's body had been found in his apartment. Overdose. Empty pill bottles everywhere. One note. Tell Claire I tried. The cops asked questions. So many questions. Did I know Tyler was using? Had he seemed unstable? When was the last time we spoke? I told them about the fight on the porch. The restraining order. They scribbled notes, eyes sharp. You threatened him, though. Said he didn't know what suffering was yet. I was angry, I said. He punched me first. They left with a warning. Don't leave town. Claire showed up an hour later, her face splotchy from crying. They think I did it. Because of the note. Did you? The words slipped out. She glared. I loved him. You loved me once too. She left without answering. The funeral was small. Tyler's mom glared at me from across the graveyard. Claire stood in the back, hood pulled up. Liam asked if we could go. He was my friend, he said quietly. We stayed. I watched Claire place a single rose on the casket. Liam cried into my coat sleeve. That night, Emma crawled into my bed. Is Tyler in heaven? I don't know, I said. Mom says he is, but she also said you were a liar. People say things when they're hurt. Are you hurt? Yeah, kiddo, I am. Mercer called the next day. Derek's gone, skipped town. But I found something else. He'd hacked Claire's email, a draft she'd never sent, dated the day after Tyler's death. I can't do this anymore. The baby's not his. It's not anyone's. I paid the doctor to fake the ultrasound. There is no baby. My knees buckled. What? She's not pregnant, Mercer said. It's a fake belly. Check her trash. I drove to Claire's apartment, dumped her garbage bags in the parking lot. Found what I was looking for. Silicone. Padding, stained with coffee. She opened the door in sweatpants, her stomach flat. How long? I asked. She didn't bother lying. Since the beginning. The hospital? The tests? Nina forged the paperwork. She needed the money. I gripped the doorframe. Why? To make you stay. Her voice broke. You were going to leave me. Before any of this. I found the apartment listings on your laptop. The divorce papers you drafted. The room spun. She was right. A year ago, I'd almost walked out. But then she'd gotten pregnant. You trapped me, I whispered. You let me. I lunged at her, not to hit, to shake her, scream, make her reel. But she pulled a knife from her pocket. Get out. I backed away. You're insane. And you're a coward, she spat. You wanted out? Here's your out. But the kids stay with me. They'll hate you. They already do. I called my lawyer. Told him everything. He sighed. Without proof, it's her word against yours. Again. I hung up, drove to Nina's. She was packing. I'm done, she said. Claire's a psychopath. Tyler's dead. I'm out. Help me prove it, I said. She hesitated, then handed me a USB drive. Security footage from the clinic shows Claire swapping the test samples. Why now? Because Tyler loved her, and she killed him. The video was clear. Claire slipping a nurse cache, sliding a vial of Tyler's blood into the lab tray. I uploaded it everywhere. Reddit, Facebook, tagged the court, the cops. Claire was arrested at 3 a.m. Fraud. Obstruction. They tacked on manslaughter after the DA argued her lies directly contributed to Tyler's mental state. The kids stayed with me. Liam didn't speak for days. Emma kept asking, "When's Mom coming back?" I didn't have an answer. At the bail hearing, Claire mouthed, "I'm sorry," as they cuffed her. I turned away. But that night, I found her old sweater in the laundry. Smelled her perfume. Broke down sobbing in the shower. Mercer called again. Derek resurfaced, selling stories to a true crime podcast. Says he helped Claire fake the pregnancy. Wants immunity. Let him rot, I said. He's got proof. Texts, photos. You want closure? Here it is. I met Derek at a diner. He slid a burner phone across the table. She planned all of it. The affair, the fake baby, even the fight between you and Tyler. Why? Money. Your life insurance. She was gonna stage a murder-suicide. You and Tyler. The world narrowed. You're lying. He showed me a text from Claire. If both disappear, the policy pays double. I threw up in the parking lot. Now I'm sitting here, staring at the gun in my glove box. Claire's face on the news. My kids asleep down the hall. Do I burn it all down? Or let the courts decide? I don't know. But I finally understand. Love isn't the opposite of hate. It's what's left when hate burns out, and there's nothing left. The gun stayed in the glove box. I drove to the police station instead. Handed over Derek's burner phone, the texts, Claire's insurance policies. Watched as the DA added conspiracy to murder to her charges. At her trial, Claire didn't look at me, not once. Her lawyer argued she was a victim of circumstance, but the jury saw the footage. The texts, the silicone belly in an evidence bag, guilty on all counts. The kids visit her sometimes, supervised. Liam says she talks about the weather. Emma draws her pictures of houses with too many windows. I sold our home, moved us to a small town where no one knows our name. Liam starts high school next year. Emma wants a puppy. I still wake up sweating, reaching for Claire's side of the bed. Still hear Tyler's laugh and the static of old voicemails. But the kids, they're okay. That's the only victory left. Derek got 6 months for obstruction. Nina moved to Florida. Mercer sends me Christmas cards. Last week I found a letter in the mailbox. No return address. Claire's handwriting. I never wanted to hurt them. I just wanted you to hurt like I did. Maybe that's the same thing. I burned it. But here's the truth. I miss her. Not the Claire who faked a pregnancy, who manipulated and lied. The one who laughed at my stupid jokes, who held my hand during Liam's first seizure, who believed in us longer than I did. Maybe that Claire never existed. Maybe love is just a ghost we invent to haunt ourselves. What would you have done? Would you have walked away sooner? Burned the letters? Forgiven Tyler? Would you have seen through the lies, or would love have blinded? You too? This isn't a movie. There's no twist that fixes everything. No music swelling as the credits roll. Just broken people picking up pieces, wondering where it all went wrong. So yeah, was I wrong to destroy them? Maybe. But they destroyed me, first. Thanks for watching to the end. If this hellscape of human choices hooked you, check out my other posts. There's one about my brother's missing wife that'll make your skin crawl. Stay skeptical, stay kind, and for God's sake, never ignore the box under the bed.